afternoon, Learning Able Kids moms. This is Sandy Cook, and I'm sorry I'm a little bit late today. I had initially said that I was going to come live between 1 and 1:30 each day, but I am revising that as of today. I started some training that happens at noon every day, and it's supposed to run for an hour, but we ran over today, and I'm anticipating that that is going to happen maybe frequently based on the presentation. So anyway, my training will run through the end of April. So I am going to shift my live times and say that I will do it around 2 o'clock. I don't know exactly what time it is now. It's 1:41. But anyway, I will be doing it, I don't know, somewhere between 1:30 and 2:15 or whatever. If I have to leave the other training to come and do it by 2, I will probably do that because I probably will be tired of sitting there for 2 hours by then. Anyway, today I was going to talk to you about one of the more complex learning styles models, but it's a very interesting one to look at, and I like it because it takes into account a child's natural talents, gifts, and inclinations. And so you know your child, you know what your child likes, you know how your child thinks. There are different ways that people think. Some people think logically, some people think creatively or artistically. There are musically inclined individuals and such. So with Gardner's Multiple Intelligences model, and that's what it's called, it's by Mr. Gardner, and there are 9 types of intelligence that he identifies in his model, but I think of it kind of more like a loose guideline framework. And I will mention to you each of the different types of intelligences that he has categorized, but keep in mind that, like artistic may not be a specific intelligence, so to speak, but we all have kids or know people who are artistic, and so guiding their learning through artistic avenues would be awesome. So anyway, with Gardner's multiple intelligence types, the first one is logical mathematical. And so with this type of learning, it's much more focused on reasoning, the whys, the facts, the definitive nature of things. Like with math is very precise. It's either right or it's wrong. And so these children are often very structured, I guess you would say. They want to know the facts. They don't necessarily want to know all of the big picture stuff. They want to know the details. They're more detail oriented. So if you have a child that is logical and mathematical, then you can orient your explanations for their learning towards the reasoning on why we're doing things and the facts. And that will probably appeal to them more. The next type is spatial learning. This one's kind of difficult to quantify because it's three-dimensional thinking towards objects, buildings, that sort of thing. So if your child is a spatial learner, like one of the aspects that comes to mind for my oldest son is that he is very visual spatial in that he can draw really well three-dimensional objects. And so when he was in college and had to do cross sections of land masses, he could visualize that in his mind and draw that. And so it was a very visual spatial activity for him. But then he had a lot of peers in college that could not do that. They were not visually spatially oriented. So if your child is a visual spatial type of learner, then doing things that enable him to visualize the concepts in something concrete, in some building activity, or just talking about the objects or the things in the world that pertain to whatever concept you're teaching can help. If you have something you're studying like letters, then doing three-dimensional models of the letters can really help. So that would be more of a visual spatial type of activity. The next type is linguistic. And now linguistic is really closely related to the auditory learning style that we talked about yesterday. And so that is through language. It's reading, writing, storytelling, that sort of thing. So if your child is a linguistic learner, then relating things to stories and words using books and that sort of thing will generally go well. So it's kind of easy to teach to that learning style because most all classroom-based teaching is linguistic in presentation and processing. And then the next one is bodily kinesthetic, and this one is closely related to the kinesthetic learning style that we talked to yesterday, and it's the one where a person learns through large body activity. So you can do a lot of projects and hands-on activities, that sort of thing, that will keep a person moving. And you know, if your child is moving and they learn through that avenue, then that makes learning easier for them. Then there is a musical learning style, and this is one of my favorite ones from Gardner's model of multiple intelligences, because if your child loves music, then you can have fun singing about everything you're learning. Make up songs, let your child make up songs, entertain each other with that and have fun with it. Have joy with the musical learning. So if your child has a musical learning style, that is one that's a lot of fun to use when you're learning different concepts and whatnot. The existential learning style. Now that one is a different kind of intelligence. It's more spiritually oriented. It's focused on meaning and existence, kind of the why are we here? Why does it matter? What does this have to do with life, the universe, and everything, and that sort of thing. So with a child that has an existential type of framework or intelligence that they operate from, then you might have to do more relating the information to the meaning on life and the purpose for knowing this information. It will help a lot for them to understand the whys and what it means, the purpose of it. Then there's interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal is with other people. These kids generally love to learn in groups. They like to do activities with other people. They like to watch people and experience things with a people orientation. So for them, when you're learning concepts, it would help to help them focus on aspects of how people and society benefit from knowing whatever information you are teaching. And then on the intrapersonal side, that would have to do more with self-evaluation, self-growth. If you have a child that's very introspective and thinks about how they affect the world and things in the world affect them, then you can help them with their learning by focusing concepts on what they will mean to your child personally. How will it benefit them to know this? How does it help them to relate to the world? And, basically developing personal growth and understanding through intrapersonal relating of the information that you're learning. And then lastly on Gardner's multiple intelligence is a natural or naturalistic learning style, which is focused on nature. It's focused on the world around us, plants, animals, geology, the universe, that sort of thing. So if your child has nature-oriented learning, then you can use examples with the learning. If there is something that they are learning that is conceptual and maybe difficult to relate to nature, say for example the alphabet, you could have them try to relate the letters of the alphabet to each type of animal. Like what animal can you think of for the letter A and the letter B and the letter C all the way through? And if you can get them focused on what they love, which is nature, in doing regular schoolwork, then it will help engage them and make learning easier for both you and your child. It'll make your teaching easier and their learning easier. So that's just kind of a quick overview of Gardner's model of multiple intelligences. When I post this video, I will put a link to the web page where I explain more about Gardner's multiple intelligences on the Learning Able Kids website, and information about each of the individual learning styles there. And you can use that information for some ideas about how to engage your child in learning based on your child's natural gifts and inclinations, their interests, and that sort of thing. Now, tomorrow we will talk about the done and done model, which is a very different, unique kind of model. And if you want to go and do that inventory with your child, it's also on my website. It's a very inexpensive one in the neighborhood of $6 to $10, I think. And it gives a lot of comprehensive information about setting up the perfect learning environment for your child. So we'll talk some about that one tomorrow. And until then, I hope you have a blessed afternoon and that things are going well for you and your family at home. Love y'all. Bye.